Recently, with this Book of Clarence movie that is coming out, I've heard a lot of stir, a lot of hysteria. Blasphemy, 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 run for the hills. From definitely Christian TikTok and just from a lot of Christians just in general. And what I would say is, um, I think that there can be good things that we can derive from this film. A lot of I don't know how many Christians know this or don't know this, and shout out to Deacon Hakkad for reminding me of the names of the people. I remember that there were false prophets in the biblical days, but I feel that it's overdue time that there is a movie that at least brought out that that is something that took place in the Bible. Um, Bar Jesus, Simon, both of them were known as false prophets, who were in the biblical times, who were trying to, ride off the fame of the Messiah and trying to, implement, trying to replicate what he had going on and try to capitalize on the movement that was going on in the time. So I don't think it's necessarily blasphemous to do a movie that is covering real events that were going on in the time, as long as they're not mocking the Messiah in the movie, or trying to make the Messiah some kind of fraud, also, or like Clarence portrays in this movie. I think it's a good thing to at least put this movie out. The cinematography looks outstanding, and for many people, we feel like the people in those days would have been, for lack of better words, black people are definitely heavily melanated people. And so to see something which we feel is more closer to representation, I don't have a problem with with seeing that in there. Granted, I know that Jay-Z is problematic for many reasons for making a movie like this. It still doesn't mean that there can't be some good to come out of this movie. And as long as people, especially I say those of faith, are looking with spiritual eyes and spiritual discernments, I don't think we'll fall for any of the Illuminati type, messaging and do as thou wilt stuff that might be in there. One thing that I did notice, which I haven't seen anybody bring up, that I see that they're already trying to slip in, that I saw from the previews, is he says something about knowing or knowledge is more important than belief, which sounds like some of the early teaching of Gnosticism. So I just think that it's a lot of interesting things that are going on, and if we're paying attention, and it's all right to have a little laugh here and there, but as long as it's at the expense of false prophets, because there were false prophets. So it's nothing wrong with that. It's more or less Jay-Z, because here's the problem: we've had plenty of movies where they talk about the Messiah, plenty of movies where, Passions of the Christ came out, and I don't remember any Christians, bewailing or bemoaning the fact that they made a movie with Jesus in it. And from the way it looks to me, it looks like they're not really going to focus very much on, on Jesus. And just like in the times of the Messiah, you had false prophets then, and in the last days of his return, there's going to be false prophets also. So I think it helps us all focus on that fact and be aware of the false prophets which may come about later on. I do think it's kind of weird also on the backdrop of Jay-Z's kind of Book of Hove, and how he calls himself Jehovah, and he has songs like Lucifer, and I get it. Beyonce, the things she did with the Bible pages is just disgusting and wicked. So I understand why people have problems with somebody like Jay-Z being involved in this. I mean, throwing in like what Kanye saying that he sold his soul for a crappy deal, but at least he got some toys like a Happy Meal. I get why people are not enthused about that, but doesn't mean that there can't be some good takeaways from it.